Me and my friends had just finished exams to close out our junior year at CS Northridge and decided to go camping in Yosemite, or thereabouts, before we all had to start summer jobs. There were 7 of us, 3 girls and 4 guys, including me, my friend Jay, and her boyfriend Dee. We took 2 cars with the guys in the lead car and a girl traveling behind. They pulled off into the first campsite they could find because it was getting dark and they wanted to set up tents in an area they could clearly see. We all hiked into a field near a pine forest and set up our tents before we fanned out to start finding kindling for a fire. Jay felt uneasy and decided to stay at camp while everyone else searched. When we returned, Jay was agitated but not enough for us all to be concerned. We assumed she didn't like the location of the campsite or that she was having problems with Dee or that she just wasn't fond of camping. We built a fire and sang worship songs. They were all involved in local churches. After singing and joking around we went to bed. The boys went in one tent and the 3 of us girls slept in the another. Sometime during the night our tent was unzipped and someone slipped in and crawled up parallel to Jay. I thought it was Dee trying to wake Jay and talk to her about something because I could feel her body moving like she was being shaken awake. I told Dee that he couldn't be in here, and that if he needed to talk to Jay, he should do it in the morning. Her body stopped moving, and Dee slinked out. I quickly fell back asleep. The next morning we all woke up, and made breakfast but realized Jay wasn't with us. We called to her but she didn't come out of the tent. I asked Dee what he said to her last night. Dee said that he told her that once they started hiking and exploring, she would enjoy camping. I responded, "Why did you have to tell her that in the middle of the night?" He cocked his head to the side like our dog used to do when he was confused, and replied, "No, I told her that at dinner. The only time I got up last night was to pee." Skeptical, I went into the tent to ask Jay myself. She was on her left side facing the wall of the tent. I grabbed her shoulder and rolled her onto her back. Her sleeping bag was spongy and wet with blood. She had been stabbed in the chest several times. They still don't know who did it. Lived above a liquor store, old building, 3 stories, I'm on the top floor. Summer night, 1 a.m., in bed, windows open, barely awake. Building shudders slightly. Building sways again. It feels as if, kinda sounds as if, someone were repeatedly backing a Volkswagen Beetle into the building. And suddenly I'm wide awake, looking out the window. WTF? Nothing to see, but something just happened, and I'm pausing to throw on some pants before flying down 2 flights of stairs and arriving to find that the heavy glass plate door has been smashed through and there's some fucking kid in the shop. Surreal. I call out something like, "WTF are you doing in there?" and he comes for me. He had to, of course, because the only way out was the way he got in, so unless I was so intimidating that he needed to curl up in a dark corner of the shop and wait for the police to arrive, he had to make for the door. Not that I'm thinking any of this. I just watch him rush towards me as I stand my ground just a few feet away from the door. Neurotransmitters flood through my brain, the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal glands kick into overdrive, and the next thing I know I'm barefoot chasing some kid down the street. He's dripping packages of cigarettes and sippy bottles of booze, and I'm slapping my ass looking for my cell phone to call the police as I was chasing the kid. We pass a taxi and I scream for him to call the police and he hightails it out of there. I realize that my phone isn't on me, and with this realization my brain barely starts working again. I'm alone. What do I do when I catch him? Beat the hell out of him for some other guy's cigarettes? What if he has a knife or a gun? And then he slips down a darkened side street and I just stop running. That was a crazy brew of chemicals to slowly come down from as I rejoined my housemates who gathered outside the building. They looked at me with a kind of respect for the mad, but all I got was angry with myself. If he had actually come for me outside the building, what would I have done? It was all base stem of the brain reactions, fight or flight. He ran, so I chased. If he'd instead leapt at me with a knife, would I have suddenly learned kung fu? Probably not. I got lucky. I had the best possible outcome to that particular scenario. And to this day when I see those former housemates, they still look at me with the quiet respect you give to the insane.